Okay, so let's get started with styled components. So let's go ahead and first of all, look at what it is. And I would say, especially with these third-party libraries that we're learning, like React Router, styled components, Axios. We'll get into when we get into React component libraries. The place where you're going to want to look to figure out how to use them is their websites. That's where they're going to have the most detailed information, because things like React Router, styled components, and especially component libraries, there's going to be a lot we can do with them. And, we won't have time in class to go over, all of it. And, they just, even if you did have, months, you could still really do a ton with them. So it's okay to be dependent on the documentation. So we're going to use, like I said, styled components. So style components. And documentation. This might be something, you like throw in that little bookmark. But let's just go ahead and install this. So go to your terminal. Go ahead and shut it down. So anytime you are going to install a third-party package, you're going to need to stop your React server. Even if you were to do this in another terminal, if you add a third-party library, you're going to need to restart your React server to get that project. So we're going to do a yarn add styled components. Cool. So there we go. Now we have style components installed. So now we can go ahead and just start our server back up. All right. Something I am going to do, just so we don't potentially run into any of these issues, is I am going to just comment out, or actually, let's just do this. This will be easier. I'm going to, in my app.js, I am not going to import my CSS file. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm still getting my container style. That must be in my, is that my index.css? Oh, wait, no, that's inline styling. Just going to delete here. So I don't have any styles. So I'm going to comment out my import app.css. And I'm actually going to just comment this all out for now. And this can be like the styled components section. Okay. So let's go do this. So what we kind of said, what we wanted to do is maybe go try to build out this component as like this badge component as, with styled components. So I'm going to ignore this counterpart badge for now, and let's just kind of look at maybe 2 colors for now. And then, we can probably down the road add all these colors. It won't be too bad. But let's kind of think about what we want. I want these badge components. It looks like they have kind of 2 main differences. They can have a different color and they can be rounded. But with that combination, I can create like, what is that? It's about 16 of these different ones. But I'm going to have this just be one component. All right. So let's go in ahead and go build this out using style components. Just for like organization and just for demo, I'm just going to create a new folder. I'm just going to throw all of these components here in a folder called styled or styled demo. It's called style. Let's do styled demo. Okay. So inside of here, let's just call this badge.js. Okay. So here's how we're going to do it, the style components, and then we're going to kind of see, how we are kind of getting the, the best of both worlds with CSS and, JavaScript. So first of all, I need to import styled from styled components. And then I'm going to make my component const badge. And then I'm going to use this styled dot. So I use my styled from styled components, and then I do a dot like, and it's actually, this is actually giving me the things I can use. So these are like HTML elements. And what I really want my badge to be is I want it to be a span. So I'm going to call this a style.span. I want that to be a span tag. And then I'm going to do backticks. So to kind of do this, it's going to be style.html. Like, let's just call it element. It doesn't even have to be, it can be actually a React element, but let's just do styled element and styles here. That's kind of like how we use it. So we do styled and then the element you want to be, and then we can put our styles inside of this string. So this is just a backtick. You can kind of think of this as a string. And inside of here, I can write like CSS, or like it's in JavaScript, but I can now do my styles exactly like I would write, JavaScript. Like I'm using semicolons. If I did like font size, I do font dash size 14. Let's just do something crazy, 40 pixels. And then I can export default. So I'll just kind of make this obnoxious for now, and then we'll go in and make that a little more clean. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my app.js, and now let's go grab this badge. So I import that. And there we go. There's my styled component with, the red big text. And if I actually go inspect this, it's a span. And then like the style component is giving it a class name. So it's kind of keeping track of like that style components is giving it that weird class name, which is how it's going to get the styles. Which is also kind of nice because now I can come in here and I can like use my editor to go in and change the styles, which can be nice if you're like, this isn't permanent, but this can be a nice little sandbox. Cool, I can do that again now, and I can reuse this component. And these components are going to share this same randomly generated class name, but it's going to be the same. So they're going to have that same class name, and they're going to have so they're going to have the same styles, which is good because they're both badges. So I want them to share that style. So if I did this as like a style.a tag, now those are going to be a tags. And now I could get my badge in href if I wanted to. And click on that, and like that tried to go to Google. But yeah, for now, I just want this to be a span. And yeah, let's say I wanted to do something like hover. I can use this ampersand. That kind of just refers to like this thing. So I can do a hover, color is green. And now I can just do a nice little styling and just do it right here. And now I can do like hover effects. So let's go in and make this look a little more like it is in our UI. So I could inspect. I'm not going to maybe do this display stuff. Let's just add some padding. Let's do the padding. Let's look at the text. Like, what would I probably want to do with the text? I mean, we're not going to do it here, but what would I probably want to do with the text?
Match the font.
I probably want to create an own styled component with text. We're not going to do that now, but let's just kind of make it close enough. So I could go in and like, yeah, copy this now. Maybe put like a little note. You know, I wonder if this is going to break it. I'm going to do this later. Like to do, you know, put text styling in component. But for now, whatever, that's fine. And this is going to be like color is going to be white. So that's a white color. Yeah, maybe text align center. We'll see. Sometimes, like I said, copy and pasting these is not always the best. Oh, I don't have my background. So my background. Go find it. Like, go find what is that color? I can just copy and paste that. Like I need the border radius. So this is what you kind of do. You're kind of like going through trying to make it just match that. And, oh, I don't think I got my border right. Border dash radius. Oh, I don't need this hover right now. Or we could do hover. Maybe what we want to do for a hover is maybe we do a pointer, like cursor. Or what is it? I forget what this is. Cursor. Pointer. I always get this reversed. Does anyone know how to make it like a hand? So this is have a hand show up hover CSS. Cursor pointer, isn't that what did I spell something wrong? Oh, I did. And there we go. Now I can like hover over those and there can be a hand. So we can do a hover effect. And now I look at that and that's like pretty, that's what that badge looks like, right? I might not have the text. So let's maybe see, sometimes we'll see like it's inter, I don't know if we can like, let's just show how we can do Google Fonts. I don't know if Google Fonts is going to have this text, but let's just do inter. Okay. So what you can do with Google Fonts is you can go through and like search all of their fonts. Say this is the one I want. You can go copy it. I can like add all of these, the ones I want to use. I want some bold, maybe I want, let's go add all of these. All right. And then there's like a way I should be able to like how to use this. I just saw it. Don't want to download it. I just want to do a quick little link to it. Okay, so up here in the right corner, you've selected your families. What I can just do is copy this link. So I select the font I want. I go through and I pick all like the specific kinds of styling I want, you know, bold and italic. I go in and I select copy the link. And I'm going to throw this link in my index.html in the head section. And now those do have that font. Oh wait, no, they don't. That doesn't look right. Why is that should not be there? Oh, I didn't copy that closing tag.
Would there be any drawbacks to using the link versus like
Me?
coding?
The link to like having them in there. Yeah, cause well, not. I mean, this one I'm going up to like this is like kind of doing like an API call. I'm going up to this server to grab these fonts, downloading them. So if like this server's down, it wouldn't work. If the user wasn't connected to the internet, they want to have the fonts. You know, it's because you can sometimes, that's like, you might be like, well, why would you want to use a font if you're not connected to the internet? A lot of the times you can do like offline stuff and have your websites kind of work. Obviously you can't do like API calls, but yeah, I'd say this is just the easy way to get this up here. And then, and these are free as well. That's like the nice thing. A lot of other fonts are going to cost you money.
And Google is pretty reliable. Like it would probably never be down, hardly, right?
Yeah, Google's pretty reliable.
Also, if the font isn't available, it would just replace it with like, if you're using a sans serif, it'd replace it with another sans serif. It's kind of like default.
Yeah, and that's like when you do a font. Let's actually see if this is work. Here's how I can kind of see if this is actually working. So I can give it a font and then like cursive. Like if it can't find that, it uses the other one. So you can like give it a fallback. So if it can't find like, because that font doesn't exist, so I'll use the fallback. I don't know if cursive is one or Times Roman. I don't know any fonts off the top of my head. So yeah, I swear like, so yeah, fonts in browsers. Some default. Oh, Roboto's got to be like a default one.
You could do Comic Sans.
Comic Sans.
Don't you dare.
Let's try it. Comic.
It's everybody's favorite.
No, wait. I feel like it's not changing. Cursive. Oh, do I have in my app.js? No, I'm not importing anything. Chrome. Okay, I don't want to spend too long. We can, there's my intern. Like the intern is working.
But if it doesn't find the font, it's not gonna not populate the text, is what I'm saying. Like it'll have a
Yeah.
fallback.
Yeah, it's always gonna have a fallback, which is probably like this right here. This is like the default. This one doesn't have a font family specified. What is that? I forget what it is in Chrome. Something ugly. Times. So Times is like, that's the default right now. Okay. But we spent that time. We now have our, I'd say, this is pretty close. But we kind of want some variation on this. We want to maybe have this be able to be rounded. Okay, so how could I do this? It's like I kind of want this border radius to change whether or not, whether or not someone gives me a prop. Like, right, what I want to be able to do is like give this a prop of like rounded. And, or not. So if it has a rounded prop, let's round it. Let's just put it here. Rounded badge here. Okay. But that's not rounded. So let's make it rounded. So here's what we can do. And this is something that style component is going to do for us. So this is just a string, right? I'm in a string. And I can like do this, right? What? Oh my gosh, why does someone keep calling me? I can do this within a string, right? And this is just interpolation. So what I can do right here is I'm going to do a little function. Because I can just write JavaScript right here. So I'm going to see, hey, do I have props.rounded? So I'm writing a function in my string, which I can do. So if I have a rounded prop, let's maybe do like 15 pixels. If I don't, let's do 2 pixels. So now I have a way to just give this a prop rounded, and then in my badge, I can now see if I have that prop rounded. If I do, let's make that like 15 pixels. If not, let's make it 2 pixels. Pretty sweet. So I can maybe do something similar with the color, right? So for the color, maybe I do something like this. If they give me like a secondary prop, I'm going to have that be the secondary color, which is, I need to come here, try to find it. There it is. So if it's the secondary color, use that color. If not, now I need to find the primary color. What is that value? Hopefully by like kind of me showing you, like going in and looking at, trying to look at Figma and find a color, that is also like maybe creating some motivation to store these into variables and use those variables. Because I can remember like primary and secondary, but these things I need to know the specific value of. Cool, so I'll do something similar. So let's give one of these a secondary prop. And there we go. Now, as I'm using this badge, so I think defining it right was maybe the code defining it's a little more complicated, but when I use it, isn't that like just super clean? I have a badge component. Oh, I have a badge component that's rounded. Oh, I have a badge component that's like has this secondary style. And then I can just plop whatever text I want inside of there.
So how would you apply this to like an actual button?
When you like an actual button,
Yeah.
I mean, isn't this kind of like a badge is kind of a button? Like what would you want to do with it?
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you wanted your button to look like this, like, how would you put this styling onto that button?
I could do style button.
So just all your buttons would then have that styling.
Oh, yours like you want to like do it. You want to go style all your buttons. Like
Yeah, I
that you
mean, just
are-
like, because
Oh.
the button, the basic button looks pretty bad, like the default.
Yeah, so I mean, what you do is you come in, you do a new file, button.js. And then we go look at the Figma. That's the badge. Like, what do our buttons look like? You know, we have some states for our button. So with my button, you know, it's like we have default. Let's just look at this primary button. So our button has a kind of couple different states, right? It has a default state, it has a hover state, and it has a focus state. So And it seems like we could do like a primary, like, so I could do a default button that just looks like this, or I could do a button that maybe is outlined. So let's go make this button. Let's just make this component. So I think for now, like our badge component's pretty good. So let's go make the button component. So like I did with the badge, just, import styled components. And then const button, is going to be a styled. I could say style.button. Sure, go ahead. I guess that is going to be a button underneath the hood, but I don't know. Then I might have to deal with all the default styles. So maybe I'll just say that's a div for now. It's more default. I don't know. Let's just make it a button and style it. So let's just first just try to get maybe this style work, like just this default button working. So like things I'm going to be looking at, like I really want like the padding from, so I want to take like the padding of this. So looks like 10 and 16. Is that anywhere?
It's so nice to have a reference like this, because that's my least favorite part of designing, is like having to figure it out myself, or have to just decide what to put on a page myself.
Yeah, that's in the rate. Yeah. Sometimes at work, if you have a job, you might have something like this. Other times you might not. I could give it a radius. I'm not going to care so much about the text right now. Just really kind of focusing on the button. Okay. The primary color, this is already going to just like start bugging me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this primary color. I'm going to go to that styles page and just throw that value right there. I have this primary color. And I can go back and now use that inside of there. So I'm in a string, so I need to interpolate it. So primary color. All right. App.js. So let's grab that button. We don't have any props here. No, we can just do this. Button here. Expecting closing.
You have a badge text still that's closing. You need to make it a button.
Oh yeah, okay. Button. So I am kind of just getting some, it doesn't look like my colors working, and I am getting just that like default button styling. So one way around this is reset CSS. I think you can get this reset CSS file, and it just, I'm pretty sure this one just removes all of these kind of default stylings. I'm actually not sure if it does it for buttons, but let's just try it. This kind of just takes like any default styling and removes it. So let's just plop that in my index.css. The button is still, I guess it's not horrible. We're getting there. But the reset.css, it kind of it's going to get rid of all these default stylings. Our button's actually pretty close. So let's just go style it some more. So I feel like this color is not working. Oh, it needs to be, first of all, it needs to be background color. Oh. Is that not got red? Maybe I still this. So it's not getting that primary color because it has an extra 0 in there, which is not a color. Okay. There we go. There's my button. We're getting there. So yeah, so now it just becomes like I'm trying to make this look like what it is. So it's going to be color is white. This isn't radius. I screwed this one up in its border. Radius. Here's my radius border. It looks like there's a border style. None. And it looks like more or less I'm kind of there now, right? To what it's like there. It looks like there's a hover color. So this is hover. So they're calling like this primary dark. So I could maybe go into my styles, create like a primary dark color and set that value there. Go back to the button. And then I can do my like at hover and do, background color. That can be my primary dark. Now I need to make sure I'm import it. And then, yeah, if this is a button, I probably want to do a cursor. There we go. So I hover over it and I get that dark color. So let's also look at kind of some of the variations we can have. So it looks like there can be like this maybe we can give it like an outline prop or like outlined, and it kind of like inverts it. But before we do that, I want to kind of show you, because I think this might clean it up if we do it this other way. So let's say I want to go in and start styling the secondary one. I could once again come in and like do a ternary here and like say, hey, do I have like a secondary prop like I did in my badge? Let's just go look at my badge. But something that's going to get messy with this is, what if I have more than just like a secondary? This is going to become a very long ternary, because I can maybe do props.secondary ? And then I could do like props.tertiary. I'm going to show you a better way to do this, and then we'll apply it to the button. So for this background, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use, and and this is going to make it more readable. By default, I'm just going to have this be primary color. One thing with style components that I don't like, it's if you have a syntax error, it doesn't, like, you don't get an error. It just doesn't work. I am just forgetting like a semicolon. And there we go. So no semicolon, it like doesn't break, but it doesn't let me know, hey, you're forgetting a semicolon. So that's a lot of fun. So now they're all just, they're all primary, but there's another way I can do this. I can come in here and I can just, once again, I'm just like in a JavaScript string, so I can do some interpolation right here. And I'm going to write a little function right here. I'm just going to take my props and boom, there's my function. So what I'm going to check here is I'm going to say, hey, do I have props? Do I have a secondary prop? And I'm going to do an and. So if I do have a secondary prop, let's do this. There's actually this CSS thing I can import. It's a function that I can import from style components. Let's not doing it. Let's just do this. So this is a function. So now I can, if I have the secondary props, I can do some specific props or styles for secondary. So this one I want to change to background is going to be whatever I called it. I do have a secondary, right? Secondary. Why is that not auto? I do have it. That's going to be my secondary color. That's not defined. I need to import it. That does not seem like the right color. Maybe I didn't copy it right. There we go. So in my badge, I can just keep writing these functions. Let's see if I can just do it like this. Let's add one more. Something like that. Maybe let's do it like this. Let's go. Let's add another one. Let's add another color. We have success. So let's just take this color success, go add it to my styles. It's going to be success. I'll paste that in there. Go back to my badge. So now if we have the success color, we can do, it can be success. And then let's call this one, if they give me props.success. So now if I go to my app.js, and you can kind of see I can just kind of slowly like start adding these. success color is not defined. Let's make sure we import that. There we go. So we have our badge here, rounded badge, secondary badge, and success badge here. And then we have our button. We can hover over a button. It goes to that dark color. So let's go back to our button and let's kind of do what we did there. We're like, if we get an outline, let's do this function. Let's do props dot outline. Sorry, this is in the function props. And we'll do a specific function if we have props dot outline. And then we'll use that CSS function where we can do specific styles if we have the outline prop. So if I look here, what does the outline? It's going to be, it looks like the background color is going to be white. It'll just be white. And then I would have a border. Just for now, let's just do 1 pixel solid. And then that's going to be my primary color, it looks like. And the color, also I need to change the color, is going to be my primary color. So that CSS is not defined. I need to import that from here. CSS. Let's go to my app.js, do a button. Ooh, we're close. Let's see here. So it looks like it's almost there, but not quite. Let's go to our button component. I bet you if it is like I can hover over it. Doesn't look like the border is showing up. Oh, because I'm forgetting semicolons. And there we have our outline button. Actually, I'm not, let's see if I can do my hover here inside of here. So if I hover over this, I do want my background color. I think it just wants to be the primary color. And then the color goes back to white. Whoever thought building a button would be so hard. And now when I hover over that, it goes to those stylings if I have the outline prop. So now I have like this default button where I hover over it, it goes to like a dark purple. I have this white button, outline button. If I hover over it, it goes to kind of like that default button. Questions on this?
So I kind of missed it, but are you basically defining like each different button in its own function and then just using
have-
those?
here's what I like. So I have one button component. Like here's where I'm defining this button component.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where you're, I guess
Where
I'm
I'm
just
u-
kind of lost as to where like
where I'm using it.
success button came from and where the rounded came from and all that. Because you defined them somewhere, but I just couldn't, I got lost for a second.
Yeah, so this is where I'm defining, like I'm defining my button once, and your components are going to be, these can get complicated, but what the trade-off is though, if I go to my app.js, when I use them, they're very simple to use. I have a button, and then I can do a button and just give it an outline prop. And it makes it styles it differently.
Okay, where is the outline prop and the success prop?
Where's the outline prop?
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, but like, where did you define what that was supposed to look like?
In my, okay, so my button.js right here. So I'm styling my button. Here's my button styling. And then
Yep.
this is all just a weird JavaScript string. Inside of here, I'm going to run a function where it's going to say, hey, does this button have a outline prop right here? So it runs
Okay.
this function. Do we have an outline prop? Okay, let's use this CSS function. This CSS is a function. It's like a function from style of components. If we do have that, let's go ahead and apply this styling to it.
Okay, I get that. That's the only one I see. So I'm just kind of wondering where like the other ones live. Did you put them somewhere else?
What do you mean the other props?
The secondary and the success, like they have different stylings. So like, where is all of that?
So
Okay,
same
you
thing
have
with my
different
badge.
badges.
So here's
Oh,
my badge. Yeah, do I have a
You take
secondary
from badges
prop?
to buttons, and that's what threw me
Yeah.
off. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, this is like defining a component, like doing this is not easy. Like going through and like, making a button like this that like works for all these cases, this can be challenging. Like it's not easy. Like you think a button would be pretty straightforward, but it's not. But we're writing it in a way where, down the road, someone's like, hey, I don't like purple. I want our app to be blue. I don't like totally get rid of these colors. Now we can come in and be like, yeah, I want a red primary color. Boom, those all change. I want my secondary color to be green. Let's do blue. And there we go. That change, so I change it one spot, bam, it changes everywhere. Makes it really easy to like maintain. To change and maintain.
Is this basically what companies are doing when they're like, here's our latest app update? Like when Facebook has some kind of thing and they like change, they make them rounder, they make things different colors. Is this basically what they're doing right here?
Yeah, there was like this video like where GitHub had like a dark mode, and it was like they made this huge crazy video of like, oh wow, look what we did. And it was like, man, if you would have set up like, and someone like posted underneath it just like the CSS they probably had to do. I mean, I'm sure it was a lot more complicated, but it was like, yeah, had you done that right, that probably should have been pretty easy. Like had they set up their CSS like in the first place, would have been easy. If they hadn't, then yeah, it would be a pain. But what time is it?
How
So
do you
there's,
deal with the setup as you keep shrinking and enlarging the screen? Where do you go to set up, the space in between those, or if they show up, or where they show up?
like in between here.
And the buttons, as you close and you extend the screen, how they crunch up and stack on top of each other. Do you have to also set that up?
No, I don't really like that in my mind. That's not like That's really not the responsibility of a button. Like, I don't want to like have a button have, I could come in here and like go to my button and add margin. 10 pixels of margin on my button. And could do the same thing on my badge. But I don't want to do that because that's not like, I'm going to have like the, I think by default, like I don't want that to have margin because I would allow what's ever wrapping it to kind of have control over that. And what I kind of mean by that, so like, let's throw all my badges in a div. Like when someone's using my badge, then I want like them to be able to kind of control how they align them. I don't know, let's see if we can do justify content space around. They can kind of define how they do that. They might want to do space around space. Flex start, I don't know. Because maybe they want them all up like that. Let's do space between. Cool. So there's a badge, there's a button. Let's, and you could see like, we would still have a lot more work to make all of our button done, but we've done a primary button and we've kind of done like hover effects, and give it a prop and we can like invert the button. So maybe I should maybe a better name for this outline could have been like inverted. Like, do I want this button to be inverted? But cool. Let's keep going. I think one last thing I just want to kind of get into is, because I said we would, and like I said, we're going to continue with this tomorrow. But in the last remaining time, I want to do just a little demo in the media query. So what time is it? How much time do we have? So I guess we'll kind of do this in a naive way today, and then tomorrow we'll clean it up. So let's just say I want to create, like, I don't know, like some container component. So import styled and then this is going to be a const container. This is just going to be a styled dash div. All right, so let's maybe have this be like a display flex. I'll give this some padding, like 20 pixels, just kind of making this up. Maybe I do want this to have some margin. And border 2 pixels. Dashed. Let's grab our primary color. Export default container. All right. So I'm going to go into my app.js. Let's say instead of using this div, I'm going to use my container component now that I just created. Let's go ahead and import it. I might have not exported it. Okay, so there we go. There's that dash 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 purple. That's my container component. And I'm like throwing that stuff inside of there. So maybe what I want to have this happen is once it gets to like a certain size, I want to have it, you know, change the styling. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I can do is I might have to, I think it's this. Let me see if this is right. So actually I need to, I can't remember off the top of my head. So let's do Google Media Query styled components. I just want to just go to actually their docs. Let's see. Should be. They don't have it. Doesn't seem like that crazy of a request. I mean, I know you can do it. It's weird it's not in their documentation. Okay, so media query styled components. I know there's like, okay, yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. Okay, cool. We're gonna set this up in a better way, but for now we're just gonna hard code stuff. So let's just do this. I'm gonna say this. With the style components, we give it the @media. I don't know why this wasn't just easy to find in their docs, but, and we can say like max width, you know, 768. So let's do something that's like very visible. So I'm going to do a background color. Let's do red. And we're going to have a background color green. Okay. So background's color is red. Forgetting a semicolon. If I make this big, then it goes green. See how like once, and you can see right here, it's showing the size up in the top right. Once I get to that 768, once I pass 768 on the screen, it changes colors. So what I can do is I can have different styles dependent on the screen. So I think what I want to have happen is once it gets below like let's just say 460 or like 500, I want these to just be a column instead of this row. And I'll leave this color here so we can like see it. So let's do 500 pixels. Like I want this to be a column, so I can do flex direction column. So I can like change.
Make things browser friendly versus mobile friendly.
What?
Is this how you make things like browser friendly versus mobile friendly?
Yeah, this is one of the ways we can have different styling versus different styles on different yeah, sizes and component and like browsers. Flex direction. I get so mixed and match with inline styles and CSS and JavaScript. So, okay, so there we go. So sweet. Now when I go here, that makes the flex direction column. It's kind of screwing up my badges now though. Line. See if I can do this here, like justify content. Or something, so Flexbox is very nice to use. One thing you can do with Flexbox, if you're trying to like figure out how to do something, is you go into the div that has the flex. And you can come in here, click that flex. Come on, why can I change that? Find, so yeah, you want to find the div. Then where you find the display flex, you can go in there and you can change stuff. Like, oh, is this not, this might not work. Oh yeah, there we go. So you can kind of change how these are looking. This might be hard. Oh yeah, okay, that's kind of what I want to do. So you can flex wrap, flex direction, row, align content. I think that's the one I want. But I can come in here and kind of like mess around with these things, figure out what the style is I want, and then plop that there. That didn't quite do it. Crap.
You need to put align content center.
Oh yeah, okay. Thank you. I forgot the center. No, that did not do it. So come back here, div. What am I missing? Go here. I think it was because actually it was a row. And this one's going to be hard because I can't like see that. There's got to be a way to put this on its new page. There we go. Unlock and set. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, I can come in here, change that up. Row reverse. It's the column that's screwing it up. No, I got column. There we go. No wrap. Okay, let's wrap those. So that's flex wrap. Maybe that will do it. Okay. That's a little better, but so now I get to 500 and then they wrap and then it gets that red and then they have a column. So I can use my media query to change my styles. Another thing you can do with your browser. So these Chrome's a very useful tool. Like I can inspect. Oh, I don't want that there. How do I put this back? Okay. You can actually like look, you can change your device. You can do like an iPhone. So I clicked right here on this like device thing and I can go in and like select like an iPhone 12. It's not like, this isn't like the 100% the best, but it will like show you, hey, this is what this would look like on an iPhone. Here's what it looks like on a browser. So it's a quick way to like do a little test to see like what does that look like on the phone. You can zoom in, and there we go. So that's like a little intro into responsive design. And you can have as many of these as you want. So you could do like, you know, once we get to 700, let's make it blue. Change any of that. So it's red. Now it's green. Get to 700. Oh, is that not over? Oh, I didn't save that. Save. And now it's blue. So it should be, once we get past, oh, this orders, then this is where like the order can matter. So we get past red, now it's blue, now it's green. So let's end it there. Tomorrow we'll talk more about, I want to get into like we'll actually talk about React Bootstrap, like the component library where we don't have to go through and build these components out ourselves because they're already built out for us. And then we'll also talk more about style components, and we'll also see how we can do animations. But with style components, we're combining some of the good things about CSS and some of the good things about JavaScript and React, because we're now creating components that are easy to style. We can do hover effects, we can do media queries, we can pass props to these. What is that? .js. And we can create these component libraries that, yes, these might be a little complicated to create, but using them is if we create them well, they're going to be very easy to use. Cool. Well, that is it for me. I will create a repo for this and I'll push this up. Your homework today is going to be essentially just continuing on your homework from yesterday, but adding, like doing styling with styled components. So I'll give you some time to try to build some stuff out. Cool. If there's no questions, you can hop off for lunch. And we'll see you back at 2.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one, everyone.